There's a tendency that kids end up blaming themselves. Like they start to think that they are the problem and affect them greatly.
I believe it's because during the period of the separation, they number one question themselves, was I not enough to make you stay? Or I have expressed my want of having a complete family and yet you did not heed. What is wrong? Am I not enough? Is there something wrong with me? And then they begin to blame themselves. And I think the reason why they do that, it's because the whole situation was not being processed to them properly.
Not being explained.
Yes, walang kumausap sa kanila. Yes. It's because parang it's an adult thing.
Yes.
So stay out of it.
Hello, amigas! Welcome to our favorite hangout place, Kenneth Kombupue BGC Showroom, the home of Amigas Podcast this season 2 for another real, raw, and very timely discussion. Today, we're talking about something that looks graceful on Instagram, but feels messy in real life: co-parenting. Let's be honest. No one grows up dreaming about schedules, custody calendars, or having to communicate with someone they once loved, or maybe still resent. No one prepares you for the emotional gymnastics of putting your child first when your heart is still healing. Co-parenting is not a highlight reel. It's swallowing your pride, it's choosing silence when you want to react. It's showing up to social events in school and standing on opposite sides or even on the same side, clapping for the same child. It's loving your child more than you dislike your ex. And that's the raw truth. Some days you do it beautifully, other days you fail. There'll be triggers, there will be tears, there will be moments you question if you've broken something in your child's world. But here's the bold part. Children don't need perfect parents. They need emotionally responsible ones. Co-parenting is not about being friends. It's about being mature. It's about having boundaries. It's about protecting a young heart from adult battles. And sometimes, the most powerful thing you can say is not, "I forgive you," but "I will not let my pain raise my child." So today, we are not romanticizing it. We're not demonizing it. We're talking about the art of it, the discipline, the growth, the humility it demands. Because sometimes the greatest act of love is choosing peace in a place where love once lived. Welcome to Amigas Podcast. Let's get real. And for this very special conversation, we're welcoming a amiga who truly walks her talk. She's a highly acclaimed Filipina actress and mental health advocate, powerful and versatile performances. She made history as the first Filipina to win Best Actress at the Asian Academy Creator Awards in 2022 and earn another National Best Actress win in 2025 for Untold. Passionate about both her craft and her advocacy. I met her 20 years ago when I was quite new in the country. I was a guest on her show and I was instantly struck how beautiful she is, but how grounded and kind she was, and by how beautiful her big, huge belly was as well. When I reached out to her for this podcast, she immediately said yes, and I'm very grateful. I love her generosity and actually everything that she embodies. So she's real, intelligent, compassionate, and inspiring to many women out there. Please join me in warmly welcoming Jodi Sta Maria.
Hello.
Welcome to Amigas Podcast.
Thank you, Priscilla, for having me.
Oh wow, I'm really so touched. You know, guys, I messaged Jodi in the Instagram account and not like maybe an hour or so, she replied right away. She was like, yes, I would love to guest. And I was very, very touched because, Jodi, in this kind of industry that we live, not everybody stays the same. And I can attest, meeting you like so long ago and how warm you were at the set. And I do remember very vividly, you're gorgeous with a huge belly and you haven't changed at all. Guys, she looks like this. Somebody clone you or something. Because you
I'm
look
a
exactly,
doppelganger. No, just kidding.
you look the same. You haven't changed. What is your secret? I know
Thank
it's
you.
about co-parenting, but I want to know what is the secret of the youth.
I don't know. Maybe it's really just like, number one, I would always say that it's really important for you to have a good disposition in life, because whatever happens to you internally will always show up, right? It's going to show. And then I think it's also about taking care of your body, taking care of yourself. And that's really important.
I agree. I think how they say your body is really your temple.
That is
and your
true.
heart is actually the power bank of everything that, surrounds you and goes around you.
Yes, it basically like fuels everything you do. So
Exactly.
whatever it is, it really comes from the heart, right?
Yes, exactly. That's why, I admire you so much about how you manage so many things in so many aspects of your life. But one of the things that always stand out, aside, of course, your beauty, your talent and all, because it's something that not everybody is able to achieve. It's really the co-parenting.
Oh,
I really praise you for doing a great job. And I know on my, my skin, it's not easy. So tell me, was it always like that? Or it was messy in the beginning?
I guess no separation is ever, let's say, clean. It always begins messy. In my case, in my experience, my relationship with my ex-husband started out as, of course, very hostile. When you start to kind of like file cases of annulment, I mean, it's something that nobody really prepares for. I mean, most of the time they're like surprised by you doing
So you
that.
initiated, you're the one that filed.
Yes,
So obviously, it was not welcoming.
Of course. I don't think naman na parang, well, unless na talagang
No, 'cause
yung
sometimes-
separation ninyo
yeah.
is maayos and
Yes.
it's like a mutual thing. But then, most of the time, there are people na, of course, hindi nila gusto yun eh. Sometimes people really want to work things out.
Yes.
But then, you can see na parang, this is not going anywhere. It's not healthy anymore.
Yes.
And, it really affects your whole well-being.
So how many kids did you have at the time?
Just one.
Just one. Okay. And then how old are your kid during the time when you filed for annulment?
I remember 30 was 5 years old. And looking back na, oh my gosh, he was at, his formative years. And
Yes.
parang I know that it's really going to affect him.
Because a boy, no?
He is, yes, he is. Si 30. So we were hostile, very hostile. Everything was like on schedule. Lahat ng gagawin. I think we don't really communicate with each other because parang every time that we communicate, it always ends up
In a
like
fight?
in a
Argument?
fight, on argument. So that can actually be very tiring. It went on like that for a couple of years until I guess we both came to a point of we were just both tired of like bickering and both decided na we should put the welfare of our son first.
Amazing.
Enough of the bickering, and he's like just there in the middle, like absorbing everything. I mean, if we weren't able to make this thing work, then at least let's give this child, a peaceful life.
Yes, I think
It
that's
wasn't his fault
exactly
anyways.
right.
I mean,
And sometimes there is a tendency that kids end up blaming themselves. Like they
That's
start to think that
true.
they are the problem and affect them greatly.
I believe it's because during the period of the separation, they number one question themselves, was I not enough to, to make you stay? Or I have expressed my want of having a complete family, and yet you did not heed. What is wrong? Am I not enough? Is there something wrong with me? And then they begin to blame themselves. And I think the reason why they do that, it's because the whole situation was not being processed to them properly.
Not be explained.
Yes, walang kumausap sa kanila.
Yes.
It's because parang it's parang an adult thing.
Yes.
So stay out of it.
Yes.
Na we don't
They're
realize
excluded,
na
that they're
sila
actually
yung
part of it.
but they're the ones who's like greatly affected by the whole thing. And sometimes it can even come to a point wherein may mga psychological implications later on that will show up later on in life.
Oh, the traumas.
The traumas. Because no child would ever want their parents to separate.
Yes.
Kasi
that's
for
true.
them, kung titignan nila, ang greatest love team ay ang kanilang mga magulang. And kapag meron kang favorite love team, ayaw mong maghiwalay ang favorite love team mo, diba? So, yeah, I think that's a tough cookie for them to really just handle.
Process that.
And process.
Jodi, I just came from a divorce last year. And then that's one of the things that hold me back. Because I knew that when I knew already that relationship was not for me. My daughter was around 7 years old. And I was very scared how she would process. And that she would perhaps blame me or have some kind of resentment towards me, because it's like I was breaking her favorite love team, right? Breaking up her favorite love team. And I did wait a little bit because of that concern. But sometimes I wonder if it was the right thing or not. Because in the end of the day, she also did experience something she didn't supposed to. Because when at least two people, one of the people in the relationship, they're not happy, it shows.
Oh, yes.
And your kid, you absorb that also, right? In case of your kid, did he voice out like any time that he did not want you guys to separate?
Yes.
He did. He was vocal.
It's still so vivid in my head. It was one afternoon, he came home from school, and he was about 5 years old. And then he was crying sa couch. Mommy, no. Please, I want a complete family.
Oh my gosh.
So
that's heartbroken.
So you see your child like crying and wanting to save the family, but then in your head, how do you explain that there's no saving to do?
Exactly.
I mean, we have exhausted all means. It's really just not working.
Yes, like, with me, I'm the one of the things I kind of grateful that I waited a little bit longer. It's because I had the time to process with my daughter what's gonna come next. Because I was scared that she would resent me, how I said. So I started to explain to her that, well, mommy's not happy. Mommy, I think that best for mommy would be that mommy goes separate ways, but please don't blame yourself. It's nothing to do with you. We both love you so much. And surprisingly, when I finally decided to push through with, what I wanted to happen, she actually told me, Mommy, I wish you have done this early on. And that broke my heart. But I explained to her, baby, you're saying that now because now you understand. But if I had done this some time ago, maybe that's not the way you feel.
It's a totally different story.
Right, it's a totally different story. But so you telling me that it took like 2 years until you guys decided to finally put a stop onto all the pickering and all. But during the time, like right after you make the decision of going, your own way, is there a lot of resentment? What stopped you for actually trying to make the co-parenting or trying to make the communication work? Or is it resentment, ego? What are the emotions that you're going through in that process?
It was a lot. Because, of course, I think no woman or no person for that particular matter would, ever dream of getting married only to be separated later on in life, right? We all want this happy ending to our story, but then sadly in real life, it doesn't happen all the time. But for some, yes. But for some, unfortunately, hindi talaga.
Yeah.
Emotions, a lot. I was confused. I was angry. not only at, at my ex during that time, but I was also so angry at myself. A lot of feelings of shame and guilt. I felt so embarrassed because parang ano na lang ang sasabihin ng mga tao.
Yes.
Parang syempre it's also hard when everything is just like parang happening in front of the public eye. Diba? You get so many like opinions and all these things na even those people na wala namang kinalaman,
Yes.
biglang may opinion sa nangyayari. So these are some of the things that I had to deal with as I was like going through that the process of separation. And yung filing pa ng annulment was like a totally different thing because my gosh, I mean, I'm sure you have experienced this wherein you have to narrate from day one.
Oh my
from the day that you met until the day that everything just like
That's
crumbled.
very draining. I think that's one of the worst things I've been in life because you relive everything that
Yes.
traumatized you and that wouldn't you in the past.
That's
you need to
true.
relive that by telling the story. And that's really like, wow. One of the worst experience I've ever had in my whole life, honestly, to say.
I think if there's like some beauty to retelling the story or your so-called love story with this person, is that kasi 'di ba parang when the separation happens, parang you question yourself, ano nangyari? Bakit nag-end up na ganito? But then as you retell your story and as you relive those experiences in your head, now you see what went wrong. Why?
The
Now
realization.
questions are getting answered one by one. And then even after the separation happened, still more questions are being answered. And that, I believe, also helps us with our awareness, our emotional maturity. And sometimes if before you'd always say, kasi ganito ginawa sa akin.
You just see one side, right?
One side. And then, darating ka sa point wherein you'd realize, okay, my participation in the problem was this and that. So, I think it brings a lot of, self-awareness and emotional maturity.
So when it was the shift for you, like, it's not about you anymore. It's no longer me versus you. When did that happen in the comparing process?
I think it was like one day before, I believe parang an event will happen. So a friend of mine messaged me, or called me rather, and told me, ito lang yung sinabi niya, Jodi, the Lord opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. But during that time, I really didn't know what those
The
words
intention.
meant. Pero it was also the same night na hindi ako makatulog. And then I felt like a nudging na I should do something about this maybe. So I got my phone, I messaged my ex and told him if he's available, can we meet at this time and this place? So parang I feel like it's also, I really had to humble myself
Yes.
also. Kasi parang for me yung, kung hindi, bakit ako? Ba't akong mauuna? But then I think when you really love someone, and pag naging nanay ka na,
Iba, no?
parang everything changes talaga.
It does.
You not only think of yourself, but you also and always will think about that other life.
Because
that
the child
beautiful
becomes
human being.
the bigger picture, right? Like
Yes.
you need to focus on the child.
That's true. And then I'm like, okay, parang like I said earlier, if it didn't work for us, then maybe we can maybe we can make it work for him. So after that incident, after that meeting, you know what? Kasi I brought 30 with me eh. It's like his eyes are like, oh my gosh, they're like talking or like there was maybe in his head inisip niya siguro magkakabalikan yung parent ko. No, but then in real life we're just trying to make things bearable for everybody. It's really by the grace of God that
Yes,
it
amen.
happened because it's humanly impossible, I believe, for a person to just like parang isang araw maging i-humble mo na lang yung self mo at mag-reach out ka because
Yeah.
most of the time life will give you 10,000 reasons on why
To not do that,
Oo.
right?
So, well, and then it happened. And after that, it was not an instant na ang beautiful na ng relationship or ng co-parenting. It really took a while. We were also parang taking baby steps on how to navigate this new setup.
And then Jody, how did you navigate? Did you do more like text message? Did you more calls? Because like me personally, I actually put some boundaries in the co-parenting I'm doing with my ex.
Yes.
And I've actually told him, let's just message each other. Because messaging for me, it's easier because sometimes you let the emotion take over.
Yeah.
And you might just, say something and you cannot take it back. But when you're messaging, you can erase and rephrase and erase and process things better. So for you, how was the communication in the beginning? Like your steps. So it was more into messaging, or maybe you use somebody else to communicate?
I clearly remember it's just like texting.
Texting also.
Texting muna.
Yes.
So, okay for the setup, when 30 will be picked up from the house. Kasi parang the arrangement before was like, he needed to stay for 2 weeks in his father's house and then another 2 weeks in my house. Which eventually, din naman, we had to modify. It's because parang it's also, I mean, a child needs structure and a form of, parang consistency.
Yes.
Or, there has to be something constant in his life. So
Para,
if he
para
keeps
to
on
give them
going,
safety, right? Sense of safety.
so if ganyan,
Mahirap.
parang nahihirapan. Ganun lang. So calls rarely during that time. But it's more of like really messaging until such time that we came to a point wherein we can just all be in one place and be, talking about education and, the setup and the do's and don'ts, what should remain constant and, parang non-negotiable kahit nandito sa bahay na to or kahit nasa bahay na dyan. It took a while. It does not happen in an instant. Kailangan din ng patience because there would be times na parang di pa rin tayo nagkakaintindihan, bakit ba ganyan?
Yes.
So yeah, you just have to be patient about it and really pray.
I really believe that women, when it comes to their children, especially moms, they really have like, they kind of take power to themselves and they're the one that initiate the boundaries. Was that what happened for you also? Like, did you still give emotional access to your ex, or did you draw a very clear line saying, no, we just communicate about the child, we just do this about, for his welfare? How did you do it?
Because emotional access is a different thing It's really important na to set boundaries, diba? Na hanggang dito lang, nobody crosses that line. I mean, boundaries, it's not even, parang spoken about.
Yes.
So, sino may alam ng boundaries? What boundaries, diba? But then, ngayon may name na siya.
Yeah, meron.
But then before, we would do it na because we know na if we don't do certain things, it's going to jeopardize everything. Kamaga, you're number one, at that point, hindi kayo magkaibigan.
Yes.
Number two, you're no longer husband and wife. And number three, kumbaga, your role now is, parents. So, parang tayong dalawa, the only business that we have is like to talk about anything that is related to the child. But apart from that,
Let's
we
just
stay
break. Yeah. Because, some people, when they're not in the same page, they find that when you put those boundaries or make those intentions very clear, you're bitter. Bakit na naman hindi pwede kami naging kaibigan? Why can you not be friends? Why can you not be like, maybe share a meal? Why can you not do this and that? Like for me personally, I think that when you are coming from a situation like that, when you're no longer partners, you said, it's really impossible to be friends. I honestly don't believe in friendship about exes.
Oh, okay.
I don't, because, unless it gets to a point on both of your lives that you both move on and you have your own life already with a different partner, and then perhaps there you can have like somehow a kind of friendship or maybe a acquaintance. You become acquaintance on a more deeper level.
Yeah.
But because when you share a life with someone and you share kids, it's impossible to not become emotional at certain point of the ride. So in terms of that, do you believe that you need to make sure to structure it in a way where there is no misunderstanding between the parts, because if you're not in the same page, right, and then you're trying to draw boundaries and then that person does not accept them of the boundaries, so how do you deal with that? Like, do you become a bitch? Sorry for the word. Or, you just straight to the point, or you distance yourself,
Right.
or you put someone else to deal with them?
I think, it really depends on the person. Because there are people, they're very, they're compliant. And they are emotionally mature to understand their place in a person's life. But then, meron din namang mga tao na talagang sometimes they will just wait for that one foot inside the door, and then they'll try to lure you in back to, whatever. I mean, iba-iba kasi ang tao eh. Sa ganyang aspeto, I could not speak for everyone. But I can only speak from my own experience na I didn't really have a hard time. I mean, me and my ex. Because I believe na we made it very clear. Kasi wala na rin naman no point, wala na rin naman talagang patutunguhan, hindi na rin talaga magkakabalikan. We'll just have to accept it, it is what it is. Let's be parents. But then there are other people na talagang they will agree to parent with you, to co-parent with you. But sometimes kasi it's always about what do I get from this? Or how can this benefit me? It's always about the self. Yun yung nagiging problema. Hindi siya sa they're not really concerned about, parang the harmony, the peace of everybody, but then ang isipin lang nila is ako. Yung feelings lang nila yung nagmamatter.
Sila pa rin yung yung bida.
Sila yung main character.
Yes, sila pa rin yung bida. Like, I have a little experience in that, and I must say, I wish I have the same setup that you had in the beginning. I do, coming from personal experience, I do experience the fact that we both love our child, but we do struggle now because it's very recently, especially means settling the boundaries and the rules, because sometimes the lines get a little bit, blurred. Yeah. Because when like me, for instance, when I'm being nice, sometimes I get misinterpreted and I'm willing.
I get you. Yes.
And then again, I need to go back to my bitchy mode and say, no, these are the rules and this is how it's supposed to work. And I think that's just nature of people in general. When you're not yet in the same page, things can get a little messy. But what I do experience that really setting rules, it helps.
Yeah.
It helps to move things faster and to, control damage. Because in the end of the day, it's no longer about you. It's about the well-being of your child.
Yeah.
Right? It's about, doing that for them. Because in the end of the day, they are the bida, not you.
Yes.
And that's what motherhood teaches us, right?
That's true. And I think it's also about, like, if you set boundaries, if you set what the non-negotiables are, or maybe some things would be negotiable, you'll have to, like, be firm and stick to that. Because if they can see that they can, like, sway you, or being nice means, like, you're being okay, or like, merong pag-asa na babalik to sa akin. Parang that's going to be a different story. I think it's really the person eh. Tayo rin talaga yung magsiset ng hanggang saan lang and do not cross the line. And we really have to be firm. And I understand that there will be moments wherein the whole process is not linear eh. Sometimes we feel like we're moving forward and then something happens. We're reminded and then we're hit and then we feel like we regress, like a step back and start to become emotional about so many things, and there'd be even moments na you would like reminisce. I believe that when you are in that state of vulnerability, refrain from communicating.
Yes.
That's going to be so dangerous.
Yes.
And sometimes people will just wait for that vulnerable moment to just come in and swoop you.
Yeah, that's so true. In the case that you do have someone with you.
Okay.
Okay, what happens? Do you feel that jealousy can play a part in actually destroying what you've built through the years? Or do you think that it's okay for, to have a new partner? You think that your kid will take well?
I think in terms of like, let's say, getting into a new relationship, there has to be a lot of explaining.
Okay.
A lot of explaining has to be done to your child. Because remember, parang going back, where's my favorite love team? What's going on? Kahit naman little by little, they're getting the picture that my mom and my dad, they're not getting back together.
Okay.
But having someone new in the picture, I mean, that's a totally different story. So I think it's very important na to take it easy when you're, let's say, introducing somebody new in your child's life, and don't be too hasty and like papakilala, and then you're not even sure where you stand in a person's life, or even you're not even sure about the state of the relationship, or sometimes you're just nagmamadali because I don't know, for some reason na because you wanted to show your partner na I'm already doing good, I've moved on, diba? So at the end of the day, it will still affect your child.
When do you think it's the ideal waiting time for actually someone for you to allow someone to come in and be part of the life of your child, and perhaps even acquaint that person to your ex, ex-husband or something like that?
Number one, it's actually none of your ex's business kung sino man yung magiging partner mo at the moment. Because clearly, hindi naman na kayo, and the only relationship you have and the only string that binds you together is your child. But in terms of relationship, wala naman na. But again, it's a different story if let's say your ex-husband or your ex-wife, kumbaga parang doesn't want to be replaced. I mean, that's a different story. Because magkakaroon talaga ng sabihin natin ng scenes and scenarios na you don't want, or you parang na hindi mo i-expect to happen. As for the children, I think we should take our cues from them. Because if we listen very clearly, malalaman naman natin yung state ng heart nila. Sometimes it'll come to a point wherein they'll just say na, I want you to be happy, go ahead. But then sometimes you can also hear a child say na, I still miss seeing you and your, let's say your mom or your dad, ganyan, together.
So you need to be very sensitive to that.
Yes.
Because
usually sometimes ang mga bata, they don't really tell you directly But sometimes they speak in riddles. You just have to pay clear attention to what they're saying.
Do you think it comes with the maturity of the child to understand that sometimes it's okay for parents to move on with their lives and even find a new partner? Because if it's general already, people, for instance, let's say that you already have this relationship, right? If you've been separated for so long, for years and years and years, and everybody knows about it, and still, do you think that somehow that's still dangerous in the terms of maybe it might hurt your child, knowing that you actually move on and you have someone that may not be replacing, but it will be also a very important aspect of their lives? How do you, as a parent, help them to process that or prepare them for that day when that happens?
I think it's very important to really have, good communication with your child. Diba? Yung parang every time na, let's say, if you're going to experience a milestone in your life, or if you're going through, let's say, something that's worth celebrating, ganyan, you should let them know. And even as, let's say, your desires of where you see yourself in the future, you should also express that to them. So because when you tell them those things, they feel included. I'm part of my mom's life. I'm kasama because she's telling me all these things. And in all aspect, dapat, kumbaga, we should make it clear to them that whether it be a career, a new relationship, or maybe what you plan to do with your life, make it clear to them that they will always be top priority. that they will not be left out, they will not be excluded, but they're always, you're always in here. Hindi yun mawawala and hindi yun magbabago.
So basically, it's really focusing in having those small, you said the clues that your child give of how they feel about the situation and how comfortable they are.
Yes.
And then processing that with them through conversations. It's funny because my daughter is a teenager already. And then I talk a lot, with her about so many things. And when I started the process of separation, how I said earlier, I started to converse with her about what was going through, what going to happen, and make sure that she knew that it has nothing to do with her and that it would not change the dynamics in the sense both mom and dad love her so much and we're here for her. But because she's a teenager, sometimes I get some clues like, okay, baby, what if mommy start dating? What if your dad start dating? And then the fun thing about it is that it started to plant a little seed in her head to actually normalize that. And then in the beginning, she was like making faces. But recently, she was like, oh, mommy, I just want you to be happy, But then we came actually up with some rules.
Yes.
Because I constantly talk to her because I want to get those clues for her. She was telling me, okay, mommy, just make sure that you never bring him home. Okay, mommy, just make sure that he has a job.
Right. And those are so valid.
He treats you like a princess. Okay, and then he has a good relationship with the family.
Right.
And then she had all those. And I said, okay, my love, let's make this list. Okay, so I started to make all this list. And she came out with the most amazing things that actually make a lot of sense. And that tells me like how smart kids nowadays are. And now actually how mature they can be when they have access to the right information. And what I told her back, I said, baby, I'm so proud of you because actually more than I knew when I was your age or even a few years back. You know your thing, huh? But I just want to let you know that those same rules applies to you. So that's what I told her.
Back to you.
Back to you. But, I think the communication about parents and kids, it makes a huge, huge impact in the way they process, their emotions, they process their reality. And also helps that parents, not only the mom, but the dad, can have that kind of communication among themselves to benefit the child. So do you believe that forgiveness is part of moving on?
I'm a strong believer of forgiveness because forgiveness means that you are setting yourself free from whatever emotional hook the situation or the person has caused you. And if you don't release yourself from that, it's like drinking a poison and just hope for the other person to die. So it's just like if you don't forgive, then it's going to corrode your heart and your whole being, and then you become resentful of the so many things in your life, and then so many regrets. Why some people don't want to forgive? It's like because they think that if I forgive, then it means wala nang sense yung ginawa mo sa akin, or my pain is minimized. It's not that. You're actually doing that for you. And forgiveness does not only entail forgiving the other person, but also forgiving yourself. I think yun yung more than the other person is to forgive ourselves for allowing certain things to happen to us. Or minsan we forgive ourselves because we didn't know any better. Or sometimes we forgive ourselves because at a certain point we thought of ourselves as a failure for not being able to keep this family together. The truth is, I think that forgiving does not mean forgetting.
Yes. I'm a true believer of that.
To forgive. Kasi diba we'd always hear na forgive and forget. No, I think when we are reminded of certain things, when we look back sa mga bagay na nangyari sa buhay natin, then we become wiser
Yes.
Because that will kind of like serve as a lighthouse. Alam mo yung mga rocks that you're not supposed to hit.
Exactly.
Because if not, your life is just going to be, a pattern. A cycle.
Like if you forgive and you forget, then it means you haven't learned anything. And the
Yes.
tendency is you're just going to be a repetition of, mistakes all over again because you didn't learn your lesson. Do you think that forgiveness, it's somehow like the path to redefining family? Because the family as we know, right? And we thought, as soon as we understand society, it's like there is a mom, there is a dad, there is the kids, and they all live together in one home. And that's why some people, they have a hard time in processing to letting go of that. But it doesn't end there. So when you forgive and understand that, it doesn't mean that you fail. It's just that it was not meant to be. But as a family, you can restructure it in a way that you work for your child. Then you can move on and be fulfilled as an adult. Because the best thing for kids is to have happy parents, fulfilled parents. Like in your case, do your child like eventually got to a point, and you guys got to a point where now it's okay to have two homes? It doesn't mean that, it's a broken family, because Filipinos and actually even Brazilians love to use the term broken family. I don't believe in broken family. I believe in families, and I don't think that to be a family you need to necessarily share the same home.
Right.
So how did you process that with your child? The fact that now you have a different system.
I think it's just about like explaining to him na it's not family one, family two. It's not like that. But then we are a family. We are just one family composed of like different people. And the way I explained to him this was parang before if it's just like me, if it was just me and my dad, me and your dad, now it's like, a lot more, a lot of us are like loving you. Parang more people loving you, taking care of you, looking after you. So yun siya. I know that it might sound unconventional for some because sometimes I still get comments like, totoo ba yan? Parang ako hindi ko kaya yan. Parang, and I super understand. I don't judge people who can't like, let's say, be friends with their exes or to co-parent with their exes. But I think that it's important to really know what will be good and what will be best, not only for you but for your child. But it's really important then basta do no harm.
Yes.
I think that's the most important thing. I believe every parent has good intentions.
Yes.
I'm a firm believer of that. But sometimes those good intentions can have a different outcome.
Yes.
Iba yung nagiging impact. We should also look at that. Yeah, so that's how I processed it with 30, and I'm just happy na we've been co-parenting since 2014.
Wow.
So it's been, 12 years.
12 years.
12 years. It wasn't easy. It didn't come in an instant. Hindi siya magic. And sometimes when people would ask me, I'd say na it's really the Lord's grace that, that made this possible. Because really, for humans, sometimes this can be impossible. But I think with His grace, nangyari siya. I think every child wants to love every parent freely. Alam mo yung gusto niya, mahal ko si mommy. Gusto niya, mahal ko din si daddy. It's so hard for them na sometimes when they want to love both parents and then one parent would tell them, bakit? Ginito tayo ng ganun yan. So parang sila pa yung mali for loving their parents. I mean, syempre mahal ka niyan.
Of course.
Sometimes kahit anong gawin mo, mamahalin ka niyan. Kasi anak mo siya.
Of course. I think it's very critical, Jodi, that we need to remember as parents that when you say anything about your ex to your child, half of their heart is hearing that and observing that because you're addressing someone that they love.
That's true.
Right? So we need to be very careful of the things that we say about our ex-partners because it's not about them. It's about your child.
Yeah.
So I think how you said it's really like a lot of, hard work, discipline, adulting. You need to really like maturity plays a huge role Because although, how I said, it's for me, co-parent is not about being friends. It's about being mature adults and understanding that sometimes the greatest love story is actually co-parenting. The greatest love story is actually, being there for your child and forgetting about your ego, forgetting about the hurts, forgetting about yourself. You humble yourself so that you can make and enable that that child to feel safe, because kids, they don't remember about certain things, but they also remember, they always remember about the way people make them feel. And if they feel safe when they're with you or with your ex-partner, that's what they bring to life.
Yeah, that's true. And
Is there like any
completely
advice you want to
agree.
give to moms out there, and dads out there that are going to, a difficult, maybe turbulent situation? They recently, divorced or are now separated, or maybe they're already in that road for a while and suffering. Like, is there any tips you want to give to them to help them out?
Number one, I just want to remind, parents out there who's going through a difficult moment right now. I just want to tell you that you'll get through this. This is not a life sentence. It is not the end. So you'll get through this. This is going to be over, but I know it's not going to be easy.
Yes.
I know it's not going to be quick. But then with God's grace, you will get through this. And then I would just like to say that don't ever, ever see yourself as a failure just because you failed to give your child, a complete family. It could be na hindi mo yon naging kasalanan. I truly believe na walang tao na ikinasal para lang mag-wish na later on mahiwalay. I believe as parents, we only want what's best for our children. And then number 3, I just want to pick up on what you said a while back when you're sometimes quick to say, things or maybe not so good things about your partner. I hope that we all realize that when we say something not good about, let's say, our ex partners, 'di ba? Masakit sa loob yun ng ating mga anak because they love that parent too. And sometimes, yung nasasabihan natin ng masasakit na salita, yun pa yung nakikita nilang heroes. So, let's not be quick to speak, and if it's possible that maybe we can tame our tongues. Lastly, for all the single parents out there, I just want to encourage you that you are not parenting your child alone. Because the Lord will always provide you with everything you could possibly need to raise your child. And before you had that child, it was His child too. Diba? It was even before you conceived that child was already conceived in the mind of God.
Amen.
So if He allowed this child to be brought into this life, He will make sure He will be the one to fill in the gaps na hindi natin nagagawa as parents.
Yes. Oh, Jodi, thank you so much. I've learned so much, and I'm really so inspired to do better in my journey as well. You are really a bright and energetic person and so soft-spoken but very strong. I really appreciate you, and I'm pretty sure that amigas out there also appreciate
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, words of wisdom. It's very refreshing to see your perspective about co-parenting. So, all right, amigas, before we end, I want to reach out to that parent who is really trying, even when it feels overwhelming, especially when it feels overwhelming. Co-parent can humble us in ways we never expected. It tests our patience, our pride, our healing. It asks us to communicate with someone who might have hurt us deeply, and do so calmly. You might find yourself sitting in your car after a drop-off and taking a deep breath, You might question whether you're done enough, whether your child feels safe if the cracks are showing. You might feel the urge to defend yourself, to explain, to win an argument. And then you look at your child and you choose differently. You choose them. Co-parent doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect. It's about understanding your child's emotional safety is more important than being right. It's about knowing that when you talk about the other parent, your child is listening with half their heart. And that realization, amigas, truly changes us. It doesn't mean you won't get triggered or you never send the wrong message. It's about pausing, correcting, and growing. That's love in action, guys. Two homes can still feel safe. Different parent style can still create a secure child when respect lives in both spaces. And even if love between the adults shifts, your love for your child can stay steady, intentional, and strong. So if you're choosing dignity over drama, calm over chaos, to heal rather than to hurt, you are winning. It may not feel like victory, it may feel like sacrifice, but one day your child will look back and realize, I felt safe, I felt love. I was never in the middle. And that's the only scoreboard that matters. You are already winning in the ways that truly count. And amigas, that's something to be proud of, and that's the real art. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your bravery. Thank you for this honest, heartfelt conversation. May God bless you, and I look forward to seeing you here next Saturday at 7 p.m. sharp here at the beautiful Kenneth Kombupue BGC showroom with my how set for the coffee and my favorite cafe. Of course, Spanish latte, just the favorite of Jodi. And see you guys for another episode of Amigas Podcast. Really good. 7 p.m. sharp, okay? See you guys.